Hello everyone, this is Futant doing a Swiss Innistrad draft, and well, I'm here with my friend Dio. This is not one of the ones that I win, so if you care about good advice as far as how to draft, this is not a good video, but I think it is a good video for play and play mistakes. So here we go. We're looking at our first pack here, and let's see. Nothing amazing. Don't really care for Unbreathing Horde myself. Probably Mausoleum Guard, Typhoid Rats, or Ambush Viper would be the best things in the pack. But I set out to make a deck that used a lot of flashback spells because me and Dio were toying with constructed decks that maximize flashback spells. And while I didn't think Burning Vengeance was necessarily gonna directly lead to that, I was like, well, since nothing else in this pack is amazing, I'll go ahead and take the Burning Vengeance. So the deck I'm going to try to build will be one that takes advantage of that card, but we're going to find out here through the draft that it's not really going to work, in that I probably should have gone for solid creatures here. Probably taking the Mausoleum Guard or the Doomed Traveler. Here's another underwhelming pack, and my choice is clearly going to be between the Vampire Interloper and the Screeching Bat. I know I want to do black, red, blue to utilize their abundance of flashback spells, hopefully. So I take the Screeching Bat. I mean, if it's a choice between the Interloper and the Bat, I'm going to take the guy that can block, even though he's a little bit slower. The other thing that's good about the Screeching Bat is it does have the possibility of turning into a 5/5, although I don't think that that's the reason why you want this card. But I figured it would be a good, solid creature for me. And if I had ended up drawing him in my games more often than I did, I think it probably would have made a difference. Because I end up with 2 copies of this guy. Other notables in that pack were probably Hamlet Captain, which is, a step above a bear. The Hollow Hinge Scavenger, which is actually pretty decent. And that was really all I noticed. I'm probably going to take the Geist Flame here, although I think I probably would have been better suited with taking the Grasp of Phantasms. That card is phenomenal. Just for the level of pacing that it gives you at any point in the game, really. If you need to slow your opponent down so you don't take early damage, you can do that. Or you can virtually time walk your opponent later whenever they cast some sort of bomb. And, removal of that sort in this set, temporary removal, is great for getting rid of all those little counter snaggers and all that stuff. But I took the Geist Flame here, not because necessarily it was the strongest card in that pack, but because it had flashback, and that's going to suit my theme of wanting flashback spells. See, Dio the other day was able to make a deck that had, I think, something like 5 creatures and a Moan of the Unhallowed, and he won that draft, and it was basically because he had really good removal, Unburial Rites, 2 Morcrit Banshees, and some other stuff that really I'm just not going to get here, so I'm not going to make the deck that he made. But I'll take tribute to Hunger there. So removal. Oftentimes in this format, you do see people coming at you with a very small number of guys that are very big. Tribute to Hunger is mainly good against werewolf decks, but it's also good against that guy that gets 2 or 3 juggernauts. It's also good against the player that runs the zombies, because most of those zombies are high toughness. And I'm talking about the blue zombies, by the way, not the black ones. Most of the black ones are pretty standard 2/2s. What's my best pick here? Really, there's nothing but crap. I probably should have taken Altar's Reap, but I believe I'm going to take the vanilla Riot Devils. If you can't take a bear, a 2/3 is pretty decent, especially if it's cheap like that. I don't know if I'm going to end up running him, but really there was nothing else in that pack that was that worthwhile. I mean, Brainweevils can be really good, but I know that this is not the deck that I want to have Brainweevils in. Right here, again, another Altar's Reap would probably be really good. I think I'll probably take the Manor Skeleton here, though. Hate passing Gutter Grime. It's such a neat card. It's not necessarily a game winner, but it's interesting and fun to play. But I know I'm not going to be green. And here, I'll gladly take that makeshift Mauler. I found that this set, you almost always want to be splashing blue for a couple of these guys, because they're beaters. Probably, if I was going with my theme, I would have taken Bump in the Night. The Markov Patrician is nice, though. That life length, even if you end up chumping with the Patrician, you get a little bit more out of him because you know you're going to be getting 3 life for doing it. So that's pretty much what my motivation was there. I think Bump in the Night would have been more what I should have done. And probably Typhoid Rats right here. And once again, I had the chance to get another flashback spell, but since it was Ancient Grudge and it had a green splash sort of mandatory to it, it's not the one I wanted to go with. Besides, you can always pick those up late in this block without the heavy reliance on artifacts of the Mirrodin block. It's a lot easier to get that artifact removal these days. And there's nothing good here for me. I probably should have hated away the Bramble, but Curse of the Pierce Heart, you never know. You play a slow enough deck, and that card can be pretty good. I mean, basically, it's just as good, really, as an Invisible Stalker, because most people are not going to have ways to kill it. I'll take Village Cannibals. I love the guy. You know, he's going to get bigger off of your own humans if you've got him, and he's going to, every time you kill one of your opponent's guys, if they've got any humans, he's going to get a little bit bigger. So I like bears like that have something interesting to them. I'll take the Curiosity here. You never know. Lately I've been running a single copy of Curiosity in a lot of my decks, and usually it's the first thing to go whenever whenever I sideboard. But, you know, there are so many possibilities with Curiosity as far as, you know, turn 2 Invisible Stalker, turn 3 Curiosity, and then you're running away with it. So it seemed like a good idea. And Curiosity is not as bad as some of the other ones, because if your creature gets killed after swinging once, it's at least replaced that card. You're only down the card of the creature that you lost. Probably Spectral Flight is insane. I don't really like Sky Ruinator for the deck that I want to build, but you're going to see, I think I get beaten by the Ruinator. More than likely, I'm actually going to pick the Screeching Bat because it already has flying, and that really, I think, is a waste of the first pick for me. I think probably Flight, Ruinator, or Priest are the best cards in this pack. And that Screeching Bat, I mean, geez, I can't defend that pick. And here, a lot of good things. I mean, it's pretty clear to me at this point that I've kind of chosen the wrong colors. I'm not getting the things I want. But I'm going to go ahead and stay the course and see if I can do it. We'll take the Disciple of Giselbrand. I've just found that guy being exceedingly useful. You can activate Morbid, you can set up Morbid, you can, in a game that's relatively evenly matched. Oh, I didn't take the Disciple. What did I take? Oh, another Mauler. Okay, that's fine. Alchemist is cool, but not for me. Geist Flame. And one of the things I should have been doing here was probably looking for more guys with First Strike. I don't think I've let a lot pass through, but when you've got Geist Flame, First Strike is just insane. Else, just in general, anytime you've got a creature that's got 2 or more toughness, Geist Flame pairs really well with them because you can guarantee that you're always gonna trade even with bigger things. And I'm just not seeing the right things. Probably white-green would have been insane with this draft, but here I am, and I'm taking, what was that, Ashmouth Hound. You can treat Ashmouth Hound kind of like 1 point of First Strike and 2 point of regular, so he's kind of neat. I typically, when I draft him, don't run him, but because I want my deck to have lots of instants and sorceries, I take the Delver, and the Delver can be pretty solid beating when it goes off. And the problem I think with the Delver is that he doesn't always go off. Delver and Reckless are both, you're really going to win on luck if you're going to win at all. So I took the Ironsmith there because he's got the first strike. Another one of the cards here that just doesn't really do much for me in my deck. It does a lot theoretically, but whenever we actually see my games, it never shines the way it usually does when you're playing like red-green. Because when you're playing red-green, not only do you have access to Geist Flame and minor damage to add to that first strike, but you've also got things like Ranger's Guile, and an extra +1 of first strike damage can be really good. I take the Forbidden Alchemy there. Basically, the idea is I can kind of cheat with this card. I can get one thing I really need, and possibly discard a Geist Flame, discard a creature, get rid of those extra lands that I don't need. Basically, Forbidden Alchemy is a great setup card, and probably the best thing about it is, besides being flashback, is that it's an instant. So any turn that you don't have something better to do, you can use it as a surprise. It's also a great way to easily get to that 2 spell per turn in the case of needing to flip werewolves. Same with Desperate Ravings. Not a phenomenal card. I'd take probably Think Twice or Forbidden Alchemy over Desperate Ravings. But once again, the fact that it's an instant's nice, and that it's got the flashback on there. And since I know I'm solidly in these 3 colors, we know that it's a good card to play for this deck. And if you're really clever with Desperate Ravings, you can usually make it to where you have a lower probability of losing something you really need. And you're going to see when I play, I hold on to my lands a lot. And, there are going to be some times when you may watch some of my videos and you'll go, wow, if you had just played your lands, you would have done something really amazing. But the times where that happens are a lot fewer, in my opinion, than the times when I can bluff my opponent into not attacking or into thinking I have something really powerful, holding back. I can't tell you how many times people have brainweaveled me and gotten lands. Which, I mean, it's still good for them because they know you don't have another threat, but it definitely diminishes the effectiveness when all they're getting is lands. And then cards like Night Terrors, they can't target lands. So if you get them to play a Night Terrors just to peek at your hand, you're not actually going to lose a card. So I'm a big fan of, especially when you get down to that one card in hand. If it's a land, you leave it because you can play it any main phase. It doesn't matter. I mean, that 1 mana on the table does nothing for you. Whereas if it's in your hand, it presents that, or it at least pretends that you have a threat. And I take the Dream Twist here. The idea was this is going to be a card that's going to be very modular for me because I can use it to eat my opponent's library or I can use it to eat mine. And the idea for me was more to use it to eat mine. Guarantees that I can get a 4th or 3rd turn Mauler if I end up with any apprentices. And it may fill me full of flashback stuff. Now, the cards I'm really wanting to see for this deck to actually work are Silent Departure and a couple more Grasp of Phantasms, and we're gonna see here. But I don't think I get those. I'd be happy with a couple more Geist Flames, but really, Geist Flame is not as good as some other things. Unless you've got the right deck, and I just don't think I actually have the right deck for Geist Flame to be as awesome as it usually is for me. And at this point, I'm looking at that Burning Vengeance and going, that was a wasted pick too, because I'm just not getting the flashback spells that I wanted. Yeah, and I'll take a late pick occultist. I love occultists. They run the real risk of making your opponent think you're going for that mill death. A lot of times people will target those occultists with removal when they're not the best thing on the board. Um, and they're also great self-mill enablers. And of course here, obviously, you got to take the Blasphemous Axe. Red has some good stuff in that pack. And I probably should have spent more time looking at it just for the hell of it. But I so quickly decided, yeah, Blasphemous Axe, good for me. And we're going to see how in my games I really poorly handled that card. As with most board wipe spells, you really want to draw your opponent out. You don't want to use it early in the game when you still got 15 life and they're just going to do a little bit more damage to you. You want to draw them out. You want to make them overextend, and then you play the axe. And then there are a couple of times where I don't maximize my blocking with the creatures I have on the board. If you know you're going to cast Blasphemous Act, you're going to kill all your own guys. Well, you may as well use them to block a couple of times, or do something with them other than just let them die when you cast the axe. I do a good job of attacking when I need to, when I know I'm going to throw the axe out there, but I think I probably just mismanaged that card this draft, and that's going to be one of the reasons why I lose. Now, I could pick up a second Burning Vengeance here, but we know that ship's done sailed. Probably the ideal pick here is either the Stitch Drake or the Suture or the Abattoir Ghoul. I could get a third bat if I wanted, but do we really want 3 bats? No, I don't think so. Of course, the other best cards in the pack are probably Bonds of Faith and Claustrophobia, and I took that Ghoul there because of my Guy's Flames, and because I've gotten great use out of the guy. True, he's probably a better sealed card than a draft card, but the fact that he's going to kill something and gain me some life back is pretty good, even if he ends up needing to chump in some way. Even if he dies, you're going to gain that life when you double block somewhere. And I'm hiding my cellar door. Usually that's a card I love to run when I'm low on creatures, because it's got a pretty close to 50% chance of getting you a dude. And here I'm going, well, no flashback spells for me. This sucks. Harvest Pyre probably would have been really good, but I didn't want to take it because I've got Maulers that I want to be able to activate. So I take the Rakish Air. Rakish Air is one of those guys that if you end up with a pair or triplets of them, they boost the effectiveness of a lot of your other men. And since I have some vampires, I figured they would be a good addition. And a lot of times too, those Rakish Airs are a good fear card. They're going to draw out some removal, even when they're not necessarily going to become very effective creatures for you. But unchallenged, they get absolutely bonkers. I think here's where I take the Disciple. Probably should have hated away the Rebuke, though, and maybe that's what I end up doing. Oh no, since I know I'm 3 colors, I took the Amulet. Yeah, a lot of times what I'll do is third pack is when I start looking for my color fixing. Unless I have that early opportunity in first or second pack where there's really nothing exciting and I get a Grotto or a Ghost Quarter or something like that. So a lot of times third pack I'm looking and I'm going, wow, I'm going to have to give up a pick to get some color fixing. And cards like Amulet are not amazing, never a first pick, but they're great as you're starting to wind down and you have the cards that you want to play. And Deranged Assistance is really good for me. It allows some pretty crazy possibilities as far as getting third turn makeshift Maulers. You can use that mana to cast Blasphemous Axe, and you can throw away a Deranged Assistant to an axe, and everything's pretty good. And here I'm starting to clean up my deck a little bit. Some of the things I'm hiding may end up being things that I want to run, but I'm looking at this pool right now, and I'm thinking, well, there's not a lot to do earlier in the game. I've got good 3 stuff. I've got a good set of 3 drops. Notice somewhere in there I got a Lantern Spirit. Lantern Spirit is going to be insane for me in one of my hardest matches. And it's gotten a huge amount of respect. It's going to be a first pick for me a lot more often than it has been in the past. Another rebuke here. I mean, I hate the fact that white-green would have been so amazing for me. Because rebuke is not remarkable. They still have to attack you to use it. But I mean, you can kill anything. You can kill Olivia if somebody attacks with it. You can kill a Grimgran whenever you want. You can kill any of the scary 4/5 creatures that are out there. And I take a second Delver here. I mean, basically at this point, I'm looking at this deck as a coin flip deck. If I get an opening hand with a Delver and it's active early, I might be able to win just on that guy alone. And then the other stuff in the deck is just there to try and take it by any other means necessary. Nothing really good here. Take the Delusion. I find the Delusion's a great card. It's a great slow card, and a lot of times at that early part of the game, especially when your opponent is on the play, you're going to be able to kill something like a Makeshift Mauler. And I mean, since they've got to get rid of a card in their graveyard, they've got to discard a card and pay 1 mana. There's a lot of times where you will actually keep them from using something that they really need. And when you don't, you're going to make them lose a card. So even if it's a land, sometimes it can be good. So I went away for a little while. We usually take screenshots and send them to one another so we can help each other out if needed. And here we go. We're building our deck. We know we want a lot of these juicy blue cards. We're picking our best black cards that we can throw in there. I don't know if Night Terrors is going to make the cut, but we've got our Geist Flames. Traveler's Amulet, good stuff. We want to have that. Ravings. We got to get those double airs. Would have been nice to get a late pick Interloper, but those go. I mean, those are a great aggressive card. If you're playing black, you're going to have a couple of Interlopers, or you should. And of course, the only reason I don't this draft is because I took Screeching Bats over them. I prefer Screeching Bat over the Interloper for sure, because even though you get 1 extra turn out of that Interloper, you can never chump with him if you need to. And he's really vulnerable too. I mean, he can be taken out by Geist Flames. That's the other thing is generally, I will pass cards that I know I have answers to. And you know, I have answers to early game Interlopers. And this is what I'll do. A lot of times I'll take out that extra Mauler, because Mauler really can be a dead card if you don't have plenty of dudes to fill up your graveyard. I mean, it's a fantastic card. You want to have, if you're running blue mana, you want to have a Goliath, or you want to have a Mauler, or you want to have a Stitch Drake, at least one. And having 2 sometimes can be problematic. Oh, come on, play the assistant. So here's where I'm going to start fiddling around with different ideas. You know, I always try to get down to 40 cards, but more often than not, I use my lucky number of 42. And I always spend a lot of time at the end here just frantically deciding what do I really want to have in here. Having doubles of cards, of course, means you're more likely to draw them. And so cards that you really want to make sure you get into play, you want to have doubles of. So I've got doubles of Delver, Screeching Bat, and Makeshift Mauler. It's going to increase my likelihood of having those cards come on to my team. So that's why they're there right now. Oh, I've got doubles of the Rakeshare too. And you know, I don't have enough vampires to make that a crazy card, but a lot of times you play Ricochet and it's going to draw a lot of aggro because it is a powerful card in those decks that have a lot of vampires. So we're going to go ahead and leave this. I will make some small changes to this deck, but it's pretty close to where it was when I ran it. So we'll go ahead and skip here and go to the first match.